Zoe was 26 when she crossed $10,000 invested for the first time. She remembers the exact moment. She was sitting at her kitchen table on a Sunday morning, coffee going cold beside her laptop. She refreshed her brokerage app, and there it was, $10,247. She didn't celebrate. She wasn't sure it deserved a celebration. It was just a number on a screen, not enough to buy a car, not enough to travel the world, nowhere near enough to retire. She closed the app and made breakfast. What Zoe didn't realize, what most people don't realize, is that $10,000 invested is one of the most significant financial milestones a person can reach, not because of what the money can buy, but because of what it proves about your habits, about your identity, about what is now possible. In this video, I want to show you exactly what changes when you cross $10,000, because this milestone deserves to be understood. Quick note before we get into it. Everything in this video is general education only, not personal financial advice. Always do your own research or speak to a licensed advisor before making investment decisions. Here is what we are covering today. 5 shifts that happen when you cross $10,000. Shift 1. You have done what most people never do. Shift 2. Your returns become visible for the first time. Shift 3. The investing habit is now locked in. Shift 4. Your first real market test arrives. And Shift 5. The second 10,000 comes faster than you think. Let's get into it. Here is something most people in the investing space do not talk about because it is uncomfortable. The overwhelming majority of people who say they want to start investing never do. They research platforms, they watch videos, they talk about it at dinner, and then life gets in the way, and it just does not happen. Of the people who do open an account, a significant portion make 1 or 2 purchases, watch the market move, get nervous or bored, and quietly stop contributing. Reaching $10,000 invested and staying invested puts you ahead of the vast majority of people your age, not because you are smarter or luckier, but because you did the one thing most people do not. You started and you stayed. Getting to $10,000 invested requires something that sounds simple, but is genuinely rare. Choosing your future self over your present self, repeatedly, for long enough to matter. Every month you contributed, there was always something else you could have spent that money on: a better holiday, an upgraded phone, a weekend away. The fact that you chose to invest instead, consistently enough to reach $10,000, means the investing behavior is no longer an experiment. It is a habit, and habits compound just like money does. Research on investing behavior consistently shows this. The investors who build the most wealth over their lifetime are not the ones who made the smartest individual decisions. They are the ones who stayed invested the longest without stopping. At $10,000, you have built the foundation of that. That is worth more than the $10,000 itself. Now let us talk numbers, because this is where things start to get genuinely interesting. When Zoe had $1,000 invested, an average 8% annual return gave her $80 a year, $6.60 a month. She could barely see it in her account. When she had $5,000, that same return became $400 a year, about $33 a month, a bit more visible, still felt abstract. At $10,000, the 8% return becomes $800 a year, or $67 a month. For the first time, the monthly return is large enough to actually feel like something. $67 is a weekly grocery run, 2 tanks of petrol, a dinner out, real money appearing in her account every month, without her contributing a single extra dollar. Here is how the returns look at different milestones. Pause the video here if you want to take this in. At $1,000, $6.60 a month. $5,000, $33 a month. $10,000, $67 a month. That is the first visible shift. $20,000, $133 a month. $50,000, $333 a month. Every milestone accelerates the last one. Here is what makes $10,000 a turning point. Zoe is still contributing $300 a month, but her portfolio is now adding $67 on top of that automatically. Her effective monthly growth has become $367, not $300. She is getting a 22% boost from her own existing money for free without doing anything. That is compound interest making its first real appearance. Small, but unmistakably there. There is a psychological threshold in habit formation called the point of no return, the moment when a new behavior stops requiring willpower and starts running on autopilot. For investing, that threshold is different for everyone, but $10,000 represents something close to it for most people, because it took long enough to accumulate that the monthly investing routine is now deeply ingrained. Zoe does not think about whether to invest each month anymore. The transfer happens automatically. She just lives on what is left. The biggest threat to long-term investing is not a market crash. It is not picking the wrong ETF. It is not fees. It is stopping, pausing contributions just for a few months that turn into a year, withdrawing during a dip, getting distracted by life and never restarting. At $10,000, with an automated system running for over a year, the probability of Zoe stopping drops significantly. The habit has become part of how she manages money, and that changes her long-term outcome more than any single investment decision ever could. At some point between $0 and $10,000, almost certainly, Zoe experienced her first real market dip, maybe a 5% correction, maybe a rougher 15% pullback. Her portfolio dropped, and it did not feel theoretical. It felt like real money gone. But she did not sell, she kept contributing, and eventually the market recovered, higher than where it started. Here is what that experience gave her that no book or video can: experiential confidence. Most beginner investors have an intellectual understanding that market dips are normal and temporary. They have read it, they have heard it, they nod along to videos like this one. But until you have actually watched your real money drop and held your nerve, you have not really learned it. Zoe has now learned it, in the most important way possible, by doing it, and that experience is permanently wired into how she will respond to every future dip for the rest of her investing life. The first $10,000 does not just build a portfolio, it builds an investor. Here is the part Zoe was not prepared for, and it is the most exciting thing about crossing 10,000 for the first time. It took her 18 months to save her first 10,000, 18 months of $300 a month, steady and consistent. The second 10,000, it took her 11 months, 7 months faster, same contribution, same strategy, nothing changed except the starting balance. Why did it come faster? Because Zoe's existing 10,000 was now generating $67 a month in returns, combined with her $300 contribution. She was effectively growing her portfolio by $367 a month toward the second 10,000, not 300. And when she hits 20,000, the returns become $133 a month. The third 10,000 will come faster still. Each milestone accelerates the next one. This is the compounding snowball, and it starts rolling properly the moment you cross 10,000. Here is the full picture. 0 to 10,000, 18 months. 10 to 20,000, 11 months. 20 to 30, around 8 months. 30 to 40, about 7 months. And at a $50,000 portfolio, a new 10,000 every 5 months. Even though Zoe has not changed her contribution amount once, the portfolio is doing increasingly more of the work. She is just staying the course. So you have hit 10,000 or you are getting close. Here is exactly what to do. First, acknowledge it properly. Most people skip this and it matters. Tell someone, write it down, mark the date. $10,000 invested is something genuinely worth acknowledging, not because of the number itself, but because of what getting there required. Do not just close the app and make breakfast like Zoe did the first time. Second, do a quick portfolio health check. 3 things. Is your ETF still right? Low fees, broad market index, no surprises. Is your platform still the most cost-effective for your contribution size? And is your monthly contribution still appropriate? Could you increase it by even $50 now that the habit is locked in? The habit is already running. Bumping it slightly is lower friction now than it has ever been. Third, set your sights on 20,000, because here is the truth about $10,000. As significant as it is really the starting line, not the finish line. The shift that happens at 20,000 is where compounding starts to feel genuinely powerful, where returns stop being a rounding error and start being a second engine. You are closer to 20,000 than you have ever been, and now you know it comes 11 months faster than the first 10,000. Zoe is 28 now. Her portfolio is at $24,000. She still contributes the same $300 a month, but her returns are now generating $160 a month on top of that. Her effective monthly growth is $460. She has not changed anything since she set up her automated transfer 2 years ago. She does not stress about the market. She does not watch financial news. She checks her portfolio maybe once a month, not to make decisions, just to see the number she is working toward get a little closer. That Sunday morning when she crossed 10,000 and closed the app without celebrating, she did not know what she had actually done. She had proven she could delay gratification. She had built a habit that will run for decades. She had passed her first market test. She had made the next 10,000 faster, and she had started a compounding snowball that, if she just keeps going, will build into something genuinely life-changing. All of that from $10,000. Here is exactly where you are and what to do next. If you have not started yet, open an account this week. Every month you wait costs you acceleration later. If you are under 5,000, focus only on consistent contributions. Do not obsess over returns yet. If you are between 5 and 10,000, you are in the final stretch of the hardest phase. Keep going. If you have just hit 10,000, pause, acknowledge it, do a 30-minute portfolio review, then increase your contribution by at least $50, and then set your sights on 20,000. It comes faster than you think. If this video helped you understand why the $10,000 milestone matters, subscribe. I make these every week breaking down how money actually builds in plain English. Now, if you want to know what happens after $20,000, when the compounding really starts to accelerate, when returns start doing more work than your contributions, next video will be exactly where this one leaves off. Stay tuned. See you in the next one.